Hello. So I'm doing this live because I need to be open and honest with myself. Um, I felt that I had been open and honest with myself, but then I realized that I was doing myself a big injustice by remaining silent, unfortunately. So I don't believe anyone is here. And to be honest, I don't really care about that. I'm sure that this video will be seen in the future by many of people. The whole point of it is to educate, to inform people of what's going on in my life. I need to tell my story. I need to stop allowing people to silence me. And I am 33 years old and I have been abused off and on since I was a little girl. So I'm not here really to talk about me being a little girl and going through abuse. Although I'm working on healing that, that's not what I'm here about. I'm here to express what I have been dealing with and going through for the last 4 years since May the 28th of 2016. My son was attacked by a vicious predator named Vernell Ezekiel Cotton Jr. This happened in Orange County, California, May 28th, 2016. My son and I were living there alone. We went there for his acting career that he wanted to pursue. He was 10 years old when he was attacked. I don't necessarily want to go through the details of the attack, which has scarred the both of us since the attack, which was 4 years ago. I want to talk about being silenced by government officials. I was nearly killed in Santa Ana by a police officer literally dragging me into processing in a jail in Santa Ana jail. This assault on my son's life happened in Lake Forest, California, which is Orange County. It was a suburb area, which I thought would be a safer option to living in Los Angeles, which is where I was told was not so safe. I saw a lot of, well, first of all, my son and I are from Texas. We're from Tarrant County, Texas, which is a town in Dallas-Fort Worth area. We were living in Houston after 4 years of living there, having left Tarrant County. We lived in Harris County for years. Because of me being disabled by malpractice, which was a misplaced epidural. 2 misplaced epidurals I suffered in Tarrant County at the age of 18. So when you are young and you are uninformed by the people who are supposed to love you, like your family, your parents, that type of thing, when you don't know about the wolves in sheep clothing, or the malpractice, or the medical field, or you're not informed of modern day slavery or any of these types of things. You just don't know. And so when you begin to venture off into life, or you begin to have children, and accidentally end up being a single mother, you can end up in different places that you have no idea even exists. For instance, Orange County, California. Because I was disabled by misplaced epidurals, I was under the influence of the after effects, which created depression and anxiety that I didn't even know I had. I didn't know I had it. But shortly after moving to Orange County, California, and experiencing a stint of, it was 3 months of homelessness, living at a hotels. Um, my son and I ended up in Orange County, California, to pursue his acting career in LA, not knowing again that there are counties inside of America, and I'm not sure what other countries for sure, but there are lots of counties in this country that are majority of clansmen, clans women, if that's what they call themselves, racial discrimination, racism, prejudices, all kinds of things. There are counties full of racist people. And Orange County happened to be one that wasn't full or complete of racist people, because a lot of Hispanics, a large majority of Hispanics moved there from Mexico, which is only, one county over from Mexico, Orange County. Anyhow, my son was viciously attacked by the dude. I told you his name. It was 4 years ago, and it happened in front of my apartment, in front of my son's window. Um, I found out shortly after the attack that the guy who attacked my son um, was friends with the neighbor whom I was providing transportation, childcare, transportation, or whatever you want to call it, for 6 months. I didn't know much about her. I knew a little bit of her background. She told me that her husband was serving 2 life sentences in prison. Um, I did not think that was a red flag, that I should not help her children get to school. Um, so, me being a Christian, being raised a Christian, I failed to realize, or I just did not have the knowledge that that should have been a red flag for me. Helping someone who is married to a man from the gang life in LA, serving 2 life sentences. I'm just helping her kids get to school, or so I thought. That's what I thought. After 6 months, her friend that she told me she had no friends in that county, he attacked my son in front of my apartment by grabbing him at his throat and his shoulder and lifting him off of his bike into the air and shaking him. So I have experienced a lot of horror, a lot of terror since then. When I was taken in for questioning. I asked the girl, her name is Chandra Caldwell. Her husband last name is Lemons. I don't know if they were even actually married. This is just what she told me. I didn't really care because I thought I was doing a good deed, because the Christian ethics that I had, treat your neighbor as you would like yourself to be treated, feeling that I am maybe somehow creating a sense of community in this apartment, in this county that I know nothing about, that I just moved into. Well, it didn't go that smoothly. Um, I found out she was envying me. I found out her so-called sister, um, who looks similar to me, um, was somebody she hated. And so I just ended up in a big ball of confusion, me and my son. So basically, we became victims. We became victimized. We became silenced by the government. We just became some abused, trafficked individuals in this large country or so, which is, I think, like 5,000 miles across. Well, we became victim to it. We became victim to the unjust system, which people know it as the justice system. Um, I had no idea before moving to California that there was so much hate in this country against brown people. A lot of people call themselves black people. I know that I am super composed of Native American history, well, ethnicity, I'll say, but that's my background, that's my history, that's my origin. Um, I did not know that there was such a large war against Native American people. There are so many ignorances that I was not aware of. However, my son and I, he was only 10, I was in my late 20s. Um, we just did not know. We felt really ignorant to what was going on in this country, the harm that could come to you by moving to another state in the country. It really did not make sense to me. Still today, um, I'm aware, but it's not smart, to hate people because of their skin colors or because their native origin. It's just not smart. I have been physically violated in the jail in Santa Ana. I was threatened to be sexually victimized. Um, there is just the trauma, the turmoil my son and I have received. The terrorism is just unbelievable. I just wouldn't have thought that this type of thing happens in this country, and it does. And I want to inform people to be aware when you are um, just out there experiencing life, when you are young, when you are uninformed, when you are neglected, or you don't feel loved, um, all those types of things. But before you begin to experiment in life and just go off to another state or another country or that type of thing, I want you to be aware that trafficking is high. Trafficking is super high. This situation started 4 years ago, and I was forced out of California. First of all, I was forced out of my apartment at gunpoint. by Orange County sheriffs, and at least 7 or 8, maybe 9 of them in January. So I've been so traumatized that sometimes my memory, exact dates escape me. I have a lot of these things written down and that type of thing. But this was January or February. I believe it was February because it was 2 days after Martin Luther King Day. And so I believe that was February of 2018. No, that was 19. That was last year. So because I've been so severely traumatized, and my assistance for my mental health has been disconnected by government officials, government funded programs like My Health, My Resources here in Texas. Um, Different things like that. I've been denied mental health services after being caused depression, panic disorder in Orange County, um, and after being silenced and abused and nearly killed by these government officials in Los Angeles County and Orange County, leading up to more terrorism in Fort Worth and Arlington of Texas within this last year that I've been back. Because my son was also kidnapped multiple times. So, and that all happened in 2016 after I saved his life from a 3-time felon with more than 15 priors named Vernell Ezekiel Cotton Jr. from Chicago, Illinois. I've been through a stream of corruption. It's really difficult to talk about, which is what has taken me so long. But I feel that I'm continuing to do myself and my child a disservice if I don't speak out, if I don't tell people what has happened to me, what has happened to my son, our story. Then I feel that I'm continuing to do myself a disservice. And because I have so much love for myself, I refuse to stay silenced. But I've been silenced for a long time. After being forced out of my apartment, I was forced out December 28th. No, December 5th, I believe, of 2018. That's the first day I was forced out. When I went back to my apartment is when I saw Chandra's sister, which is the girl who I was helping, who told me to disappear after seeing her daughter running behind the man who was attacking my son. It is like a long story of setups and traps and assaults upon me and my son's life due to envy and jealousy and hate that I didn't create. I didn't know I was a part of. But after receiving no justice for 4 years, and then coming to my home state, my home city, to be with my son who was kidnapped by Orange County CPS, who Chandra, who I was helping for 6 months with free transportation for her kids. Like, these things just don't make sense. She agreed to keep my son when I was going in for questioning after saving my son's life by hitting Vernell, this felon, this known American terrorist, one time with a kitchen tool because he lured me out of my apartment by attacking my son's life in front of my apartment. After being taken for questioning, I asked Chandra, was it okay? Was she sure that my son would be okay with her until I'm released? Or if they decide to arrest me until I bail out. She said it's okay. I asked her multiple times. She said, sure, it's fine. That day I was taken into custody. The following day, she contacted CPS and turned my son over to Orange County Family and Children's Services. Once I was bailed out 5 days later, after being visited by CPS of Orange County, my son had never been into this type of situation. I never been in this type of situation. We had been violated before plenty of times by his father, by my father. My son had never been in any kind of CPS, any type of custody. He was 10. She turned him over after promising myself my son is safe. These horrors that have been forced upon me and my son are completely evil and satanic. I have never experienced these type of people in my life to want to steal your joy because you're happy, because your son is an actor. Or he was. He wanted to be. That life was just swiped right up under him. And I was managing his career. I had no idea that I was being classified as a poor person because of my disabling conditioning from misplaced epidural. I had no idea what corruption was. I didn't know this was the top 3 country of corruption. I just knew that I was supposed to treat my neighbor good. I knew that I was a good person. I knew my son was a good person. I knew that I could not work anymore because of my back constantly spasming out. I didn't even know that that's what it was called when I was losing jobs after job after job after job because I could not physically work after a certain amount of time. You guys, whoever is listening, people, American people, this is just who I want to talk to. People in other countries, whomever is listening. I had no idea that racism was what it is. I had no idea that people in my own family were so envious and jealous of me that we were ran off. Me and my son, we weren't supported. I have a little support now. I have 1 to 2 people who marched for me in Tarrant County. I was locked into the Tarrant County jail, trafficked in May of this year. After being here for a year, being forced out of shelters, assaulted by people I didn't even know. I still don't know. People I never seen in my life. Shelter manager, people at the shelter. There have been so many assaults upon my life. It really hurts. And I didn't know I could even be that strong to live through all of this hate I've experienced. The brutalization, the brutality of even activists that refuse to share my story. I had no idea that I was self-conscious or that I was afraid. And I was just afraid that people would look at me a certain kind of ways. But I don't care about any of that anymore. I have always had a belief in God and that God would protect me. and loved me when nobody else would. And he did. He, she, it, the universe, whatever you believe in, whatever you don't believe in, I believe in God. I believe in the universe. I believe in karma. I believe in good people. Still, after all of this terrorism, government officials hiring people to assault me, it's unfucking believable. Because I saved my brown son from an attack on his life. The corruption, the social security, disability. I've been assaulted to no stop. It has been non-stop because of what I look like, because I have melanin in my skin and my complexion, because I was disabled by malpractice and I cannot work to support myself or my son. Right now, I am homeless. I have been living in and out of my vehicle since December 2018 out of Orange County, when I was forced out of my apartment in Buena Park, which is where I moved to, and being able to put all the pieces together, because this is where Chandra told her sister to move to. I didn't know it until I was forced out December 4th or 5th of 2018 of my apartment by a false eviction. I moved to my car to Los Angeles County, sleeping on streets after streets after streets in my vehicle for weeks, until 1 or 2 days after Christmas, I went back to that apartment that I had to check my mail. I went to the apartment and I could still get in my apartment. I stayed in my apartment a few more weeks. My mom and my son came out to Orange County, California the next month, which was January. They came and they stayed with me for like 2 weeks. They went to court with me. I was going to court for, at that time, 3 consistent years. They would not drop charges. I had to do one time until the attacker retreated, which is your constitutional right to protect yourself, to defend yourself, to defend your child or another in imminent danger, which is what I did until the attacker retreated. Till he released my son, which I know was corruption to have him attack my son, because my son was being bullied at the school district. I was going to the school district, Saddleback Valley. They were ignoring me. The principals were allowing my son to be abused in the school district. Like, I never knew there were counties that were still operating in this form of hate. I didn't know injustice. I didn't know. If you don't know, if you're not informed, you ignorant, you have lack of knowledge. And I didn't know. And it almost cost me and my child's life. It did cost me my life. Because I was killed by the officer in Santa Ana because I couldn't walk fast, suffering spinal stenosis and sciatica, which is also known as symptoms of adhesive arachnoiditis from spinal injuries. Only injury I had was giving birth to my son in 2005, which caused me herniated bulging disc. I mean, so much shit that I don't even want to talk about. I don't want to tell people about my physical conditions, my disabling conditions, but attempting to use the resources that are here, being refused food and water from the government, social services, being assaulted by social service workers, being refused social security disability. After all these years, the corruption that has just went on and on and on, nearly killing me, constantly attacking me, keeping me and my son apart for 3 years. My child that I raised his whole first 10 years of his life being kidnapped from me, being refused to get my son from social family services in Orange County, in Orange, the city of Orange in California, because I saved his life. Y'all, when I say the spiral of depression and anxiety this is placed upon my life, just because I needed money to survive for me and my son, for attempting to apply for Social Security disability since 2010. That's 5 years now. And I've been denied. They receive all the x-rays, all types of stuff that they need. They know I have these disabling conditions. And they refuse to support me and my son because our skin is brown. Because we're natives of this country. It just doesn't make sense to me. I didn't know hate was so real. I've just been bamboozled. So many people have been paid to attempt to assault me, My mom hired an attorney from LA named Dakar Dubell. He refused to even do a full investigation in Orange County. I had a witness. The witness information disappeared. They just, these evil racist people just don't care. They don't care who died so that they can stay at the top of the money chain or whatever you call it. They don't care. I never knew this shit. I'm disappointed that I never knew. I'm disappointed, that people who's supposed to love you refuse to teach you about the world, about the wolves in this world. The hurt this shit has caused, the harm, the danger. It's just fucking depressing. It's unbelievable. It's unfathomable. Beware. Beware that these are just some things that I wrote down. Beware that there are gangs of white, self-hating, envious, non-melanated people, even melanated people that will harm you and your child when you are unprotected. Or so you look unprotected. They will use your mental illness against you. I had just told Chandra a week before, her friend that I didn't know was her friend. She told me she didn't know anybody over there. And here her daughter is running behind this male to attack my son, to threaten and cause bodily harm and damage to him. Be aware there are biased people in this world that just want to steal your joy and your happiness. But my happiness and my joy came from God. I see I saw after God when I was just a child. I believe angels are real. Angels say, use me and save my son's life that day. But there are people that don't want to see you happy. And a lot of times, unfortunately, it doesn't matter what color your skin is. It's not just race wars that are being created. It's gender wars. It's any type of wars that they can incite because they are so self-hating. They'll use people with evil biases against you and you don't even know them. You have no idea of the wars that's going on around you and you think you're safe. They will hit you with false accusations, bigotry, severity and misjudgment, intolerance, unfairness, abuse of injustice, of authority. And the main thing that hit me was persecution. I didn't understand. I thought Jesus was persecuted. I didn't know that I could be persecuted too. My son wanted happiness. I wanted financial stability. And I had no idea how to get it with my back going out because I took misplaced epidurals at 18 that I didn't know that I needed so that medical professionals can make bucks that I'm still being denied today. My son is being denied. We are damn near starving. I've been approved of food stamps, but I've been physically assaulted in social service office on Olympic Boulevard in Los Angeles as I lived in my car for 5 months to continue to go report to the Orange County Supreme Court in Santa Ana to fight for my rights. But when you're given your rights, your civil rights, they can't take them. They're not supposed to take them. But if you alone, you're in a county where you don't know people, and somebody wants to rain hell upon you because they're self-hating and you're not, because you have a light and they just full of darkness or whatever envious reason that they decide to hate you for, because you have a goal, you and your child have dreams, you know who you are, you happy, whatever the reason is. It doesn't have to be a legitimate reason, but when there are people, when you find out there are people out there like that, it's disheartening, it's depressing. But I lived in my car 5 months in Los Angeles County to fight for the right to save my son's life from a random person off the street, a man over 6 feet tall, towering above him, above my baby. You're supposed to defend yourself. You're supposed to save your life. You're supposed to save your child's life. You're not supposed to be trafficked for saving your life or your child's life. You're not supposed to be treated like a fucking animal in a cage. You're supposed to be able to go to shelters to seek shelter. You're not supposed to live in your car. Because you want to save your child life and your life, and you don't want to be abused by the system. Stop abusing me. I'm not a fucking rag doll. I can get mad too. I'm still not gonna let you have my joy because you didn't give it to me. I don't know. Maybe I can encourage people to stand up for themselves. I know I don't want to be a victim anymore. I miss being independent or feeling the sense of independence. I miss having my own place where I can keep me and my son safe, where we're not violated by anybody, by predators who considered us as prey, people who have been abused themselves and taking that spirit, that energy, that low frequency of being abusers because they've been abused. That's not right. That's not the American way to be. To hurt people just to see them hurt because somebody watched you hurt. That's pure fucking evil. I just hope that my voice can finally be heard. I hope that I can finally attract activists to my situation that has abused me and my child for 4 years, which initially started 14 years ago. He's 14 now. The assault on my body was the first assault on my life. Not knowing I was being assaulted. Because I was abused and assaulted by my birth father for so long. And another male family member, I witnessed my mom being abused by my birth father so much. it apparently it turned into normalcy. There's nothing normal about being abused. There is nothing normal about being abused by multiple people you don't know for 4 years. It's nothing normal about living inside of your vehicle, inside of your apartment for years because you can't keep a job, because your body keeps breaking down. It's nothing normal about being refused food and water from a country that you have worked for the for 15 years, starting from the age of 15 until you just can't work anymore because people at work are looking at you strange because you're crying and they don't see a cut or a bruise or blood. It's nothing normal about that. It's not okay to watch people suffer because you suffered tears and nobody was there to pat you on the back. It's not okay. I'm not here to pay for nobody's pain, nobody's abuse that they suffered, because I've been abused too. But I don't go around abusing or harming or hurting people. I've been approached by men claiming to be a part of the FBI and knowing people a part of the FBI. I've been there has been attempted soliciting for sex from me because they know I can't financially support myself, from people saying they're ex FBI agents. I don't understand why my phone has to be tapped for 4 years or 3 years, 3 or 4 years. I don't understand why I have to nearly be killed to get justice. Why do people have to die for activists to open up your DMs on Instagram? Why do I have to get on live YouTube and cry? Why my mom has to march for injustice? This don't make sense. But I want to free myself from being abused and silenced, for being victimized sexually, for being abused physically, emotionally, financially. Maybe this will take away some depression, and maybe it'll take away some anxiety. Maybe it'll encourage somebody. I don't know. But I do not consent to abuse. I don't fight men for fun. I don't fight anybody for fun. I'm a loving being, and I deserve love in return for all the love I've put out and receive very little in return. I know that one day the law of attraction is going to work for me. One day So no more abusing me. I'm not a punching bag. I'm not a rag doll. And as my grandmother would say when I was little, I'm not a play pretty. I was a I was trafficked in May by 3 white officers. One who abused me inside of the jails. I've been assaulted by different races of people that were forced or not forced but bribed to harm me just because of the corruption stream, because they're afraid to go without. They're afraid that they're going to lose their job or whatever fake position they have because it's fake. If somebody take your job tomorrow, that's not supposed to change who you are. Who are you? How low down you have to take some coins, to take a life, to harm people within your own country who are a lot like you, who've been abused, neglected, abandoned, whatever, maybe similar. Just because people smile or people are happy or people can paint on a pretty face, that doesn't mean, or they're born with a pretty face, that does not mean they have not been hurt too. So stop abusing me, because I'd rather not fight you. But I do have a right to defend myself. That's my right. And you can't take it from me. Do you want your rights taken from you? For whatever reason? Whatever illegitimate reason? So I'm sitting here at one of my family members' homes, and I have a ankle monitor on my ankle now because I was forced out of California. I was forced out of Los Angeles County from living in my vehicle after going to submit a medical document from my doctor to the Social Security Disability office in Inglewood, California. One day, I was on one side of the parking lot, only a few feet in front of the Social Security office. A white male stalked me for at least an hour. It was only me on this side, and he marched to his car and sat there for a long time. When I moved my vehicle back, reversing it to leave, I parked and I saw his reverse lights on after sitting for at least 30 to 40 minutes, minding my business, not harming anybody, living in my fucking car. I sat there for 20 to 30 more minutes to find a place to eat that day. I was eating once a day. Once a day. That's all I could afford. 5 months I lived in my car until he rammed into my vehicle. He hit me. That's vehicular assault in front of the Social Security Disability office in Inglewood, California. Stalked me for an hour, if not more. Why would a person need to hit their reverse lights and sit there for at least 30 more minutes. And it's only you two on that side of the parking lot in front of the Social Security Disability office, as I had an open case next door in Orange County. I have no unbiased representatives. I have tried, I have called civil rights. I have did so much to bring me and my son justice, and we have been continuously unjustified because our skin is brown. I have been to NAACPs. I have been exhausted, and I'm still trying. And because I saved my son's life and my life after being assaulted and nearly killed multiple times by government officials, forcing me to come back to Texas and be with my son. There was no other option. Orange County decides to call me a fugitive. In the state, the county that I was born in, I'm arrested in May of this year, just a couple months ago, in prison for 30 days until and denied medications, all sorts of things, just because stalked by COs, just because my skin is brown and corruption followed me home. This is supposed to be my home. And I come back and it's not even safe anymore. Because a rich dude is hiring people to put hits on my life. You should be ashamed of yourself. This ain't America. This ain't America united. It's a united front, a fraudulent front. But remember, what you do comes back to you. Karma is real. God is real. And the universe is real. Universal law is real. I'm real. Stop assaulting me. Stop causing me bodily harm. Stop stalking me. It's gonna come back on you. You just wait and see. If you know anybody that can help me, Dallas Fort Worth area, anywhere in Texas, please let me know. I'm on Instagram rarely, but I'm still on there. I still have a page up. It is hard out there for brown young artists, especially brown women. And I don't receive any money from my artistry. I can't work. I tried to be a makeup artist, tried to use my skills. My back goes out. And Judge Glenn in Orange County, Santa Ana courts laughed at me as my back went out when I tried to stand trial. I physically could not stand trial. There is a series of me being drugged, throughout this country, throughout the South. Well, Arlington, Fort Worth, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and throughout Orange County and Los Angeles County. I've reported a lot of it, and nothing is being done. It's not funny. My son and I deserve justice.